about keto diet for beginners. Assalamu alaikum, people. It is Tuesday. So, on our Tuesday live this week, we are concluding our series on my book rewrite. Where's my book at? Oh, there it is. So, as you know, over the last few weeks, I have been going over a book that I wrote several years ago, the MR40 method. We talked about why I wrote it. We talked about ketogenic diet. We talked about intermittent fasting. And so I am actually going to, oh, no, that is not true. I am not going to conclude this week because next week we have to talk about the workouts, how to do them, what is the best workout for metabolic reconditioning and weight loss. So, this is not my last book rewrite live, but today we are having our last book rewrite live about a ketogenic diet and how to follow it for beginners. If you want to know where a ketogenic diet came from, how it was developed, why it was developed, I invite you to scroll the profile to last week's live on last Tuesday, and we went over all of that. So today I am going to actually break it down. What a ketogenic diet is, how to follow it. Now, I'm sorry, we talked about the what last week. We're going to talk about the nitty gritty of how to start it. What are some of the best ways for us to follow a whole food, properly formulated ketogenic diet? All right, y'all ready to get in it? Let's get in it. You know, this is one of my favorite topics. So let's get into it. If you have any questions, I am going to take questions today, so you can pop them inside of the comment. And if you are just joining me and you have no idea who I am, you're just like, oh, somebody's talking about keto, or hey, it's a Muslim woman talking about health. My name is Mubaraka Ibrahim, and if you believe that physical, mental, and spiritual well-being is intertwined and the weakness of one weakens them all and the strengthening of one strengthens them all, then welcome. You have found your tribe, because that is what I do on my platform. Is we talk about physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. And one of the things that I am most often talking about, because it is the way in which I believe we can heal ourselves with food, is a low carb and ketogenic diets to break sugar addiction, balance hormones, and finally lose the weight. For those of us who struggle with weight loss, myself included, you will understand what I mean by finally lose the weight. All right. So, um, and again, if you want to know how I got into this, what I'm doing, and why, you can scroll back. So, today, let's talk a little bit about exactly how does one start. So, I have 5 specific tips for you, right? So, my first tip for beginners who understand the power of ketogenic eating and want to begin their journey is do not start cold turkey. I know that sounds strange, but I do not recommend it. In the time that I have been teaching people to live a sustainable low carb lifestyle, I find that first, breaking sugar addiction increases your success of sustainability by large proportion, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to stop all added sugar, right? This is not a ketogenic plan. It doesn't mean you have to give up rice right away. Doesn't mean you have to give up potatoes right away. Yes, you will have to give those up in order to follow a ketogenic plan. It means that you remove anything with added sugar and you don't add any sweetener to anything that you eat for at least a week, preferably for 21 days, right? Yes, that means no honey. Yes, that also means not substituting sugar with sugar alternatives like stevia, monk fruit, aspartame, uh, natural sugars, coconut sugar. What else do people tell me? Agave, honey, anything that adds sweetness to your food, you eliminate. Not have a little bit, not only do it on a cheat day, you eliminate for 21 consecutive days, ideally. If you want a specific list of foods, you can actually go and download my free 10-day sugar rehab at 10, the number 10, daysugarrehab.com. I think I've shared that before. Or send me a message in my inbox and I will send you the page. All right. So that's number one. If you want to begin to follow a ketogenic diet, do not start cold turkey. Start with a sugar detox. First thing. All right. So, by the way, I have like specific things that I'm going to be telling you to do to get you started. So, have a pen and paper, open up a second tab in Google Docs, open up the notes in your phone, however you need to take notes. Save this video. That is also very important. Share this video on your profile so then it's automatically saved for you and for other people that it may benefit, right? So, got your notes. First thing, do a sugar detox. The second thing about if you want to start a ketogenic diet is don't begin your new lifestyle by looking for substitutes, right? And trying to substitute everything. Find alternatives. What is the difference between a substitute and an alternative? A substitute is, hey, I can't have sugar instead of using white sugar. I am going to substitute it with honey. No, don't do it to yourself, right? I want to have, and even though later on this might be okay, I'm going to make 5 different versions of bread from almond flour, from flaxseed, from all of these things because I can't have wheat bread during the ketogenic diet. No, eat whole natural foods, right? Find an alternative meal. If you cannot eat your normal, I don't know, rice-based meal, find an alternative meal. Don't try to substitute because all it does is feed your addiction, right? We not only have to break a physical addiction, we also have to break a mental addiction. We have to create new habits. We have to create a new normal, right? Because the point of the entire process is to restore our health, right? Yes, a ketogenic diet is fabulous at helping you lose weight when you follow it properly. But the most important part is that it actually improves your health. All weight loss does not improve your health, but a ketogenic diet works internally to actually reverse insulin resistance, decrease inflammation, increase brain function and efficiency, and improve your energy level. So you're getting multi-dimensional health benefits, not just weight loss, right? So really important. Now, when we're trying to do that, we want to make sure, number 3. So first one was do a sugar detox first before you even start your ketogenic journey, right? When people enter my program, the first 21 days is a sugar detox. I don't even start people on a ketogenic plan, even if that is our goal, right? We start off with a sugar detox. Many people come into my program and they're like, well, I don't eat sugar, but I use honey. I use agave nectar. I use coconut sugar. I use date sugar. I add a little dates into my smoothie. All of it is sugar. If you come to me with that, you still got to do a sugar detox. All right. Second, don't look for substitutes. Look for alternative meals, not substitute. Number 3, And this is absolutely so essential. Eat whole foods. I am not an advocate of dirty keto. All right. So I'll let you know right off the bat, right? I am not an advocate of dirty keto. That means dirty keto means I can eat as much beef, bacon, um, fried chicken, as long as it doesn't have bread, keto bars, keto this from the store, all of these processed foods that claim to be keto. I am not an advocate of that. Eat whole foods. That means that your diet, 90% of your diet, should consist of animal protein and above ground vegetables, right? So when you're following a ketogenic diet, the plan is for you to make sure you are decreasing the amount of carbohydrates that you're eating. That means that if you focus on above ground vegetables, those are the vegetables that have the least amount of carbohydrates. Things that grow below ground tend to have more carbohydrates. For an example, kale, collards, squash, broccoli, asparagus will all be lower in carbohydrates than carrots, potatoes. What else grows underground? Carrots, potatoes, beets, um, parsnips, right? All of those things grow below ground. And so they have much more carbohydrates in them. So focus on above ground vegetables. This gives you a plethora of things to eat, right? One of the myths around a ketogenic plan is you have to eat all of this red meat. Well, I can't follow keto because I don't eat beef, or I don't eat lamb, or I don't eat a bunch of meat. That is not a limitation, right? Any animal protein will suffice as a complete protein. That means you can have chicken, you can have shrimp, you can have oysters, you can say, hey, I'm gonna treat myself to a lobster dinner, right? It's all protein. You could never touch beef, never touch chicken, and still follow a ketogenic plan. You can eat fish, right? You can eat all of the types of seafood that you want. You can have chicken. You can have, if you don't want to have fried chicken wings, have chicken breasts, right? Whatever type of protein fits into your taste palette, you have a variety of things. You are not limited to what types of protein. So here is the wonderful thing. And the reason why it does not matter what country you live in. I have women from all over the world in my program. Doesn't matter what culture you are. I'm African American. I have Desis. I have Arabs. I have white. I have Somali. I have Ethiopian. Right? All of these women are able to follow the program because no matter where you live in the world, you got some meat and you got some veggies. That is enough. All right. So, my third rule or third recommendation of beginning a ketogenic program is eat whole foods. Right? I tell my clients all the time, my base philosophy is God gave you teeth, bite something. Right? I'm never going to tell you go and drink this protein shake instead of eating a meal, or have a smoothie in the morning instead of eating a meal. Bite something. Human beings are meant to clamp our teeth around food and bite down. In fact, there are enzymes in our mouth that activate when we actually chew. Those enzymes travel with the food into our stomach to improve our gut microbiome. That does not happen when you're drinking your nutrients. God gave you teeth, bite something. Eat protein, eat above ground vegetables. You can mix and match and change up your favorite meals as much as you want, just with that rule. Do I have a good source of protein? And do I have an above ground vegetable? All right. Number 4, eat whole meals and do not snack. So this is something that I often find when people tell me, well, I tried following a ketogenic diet and I lost 4 pounds in a month. We got some talking to do, because you certainly will be able to lose more than 4 pounds in a month if you're following a properly formulated ketogenic diet. And one problem that I often see is that people will overdo snacking, particularly on nuts, right? So stop snacking, because that's how you go over on everything, on calories, on fats, on proteins, right? Eat whole foods. If your meals are properly formulated, you will not feel the need to snack. Eat whole food, whole meals, right? So the number 4 is stop looking for keto snacks. You shouldn't need to snack. Do not snack. All right. Number 5, eat fat. But that does not mean that you need to have butter coffee. Butter coffee and heavy cream and everything is not a requirement, or if you're following a properly formulated ketogenic diet, it's not even recommended, right? You can get fat from a variety of places, not just saturated fat. Again, this is another myth about a ketogenic plan, is that it includes lots of saturated fat. Oh, people on keto tell you to eat the whole egg. Oh my God, saturated fat. And they put butter in their coffee. Oh my God, saturated fat. And they put heavy cream in everything. Oh my God, saturated fat. Again, there is a plethora of things for you to eat other than just saturated fat. No, we do not shy away from these things or try to intentionally avoid them. If you are having something that you want to put heavy cream in because it requires heavy cream, and that's a part of your recipe, use the heavy cream. Yes, you can eat eggs in the morning, but you also cook with olive oil, cook with avocado oil. Having fat from a variety of sources is the key to overall health, and it is certainly the key of following a whole food ketogenic plan, not just saturated fat. You can supplement with MCT oil, right? Which is an oil that actually is metabolized very differently than regular oils. This is very beneficial for people who have gallstones or their gallbladder removed and they need to follow a ketogenic plan, right? There are different alternatives. Yeah, eating too much saturated fat, if all of your fat comes from saturated fat, I don't care what type of plan that you're following, your cholesterol is going to go up. But again, a properly formulated ketogenic plan is not dependent upon saturated fat. We get fat from a variety of places. Last but not least, I want to just say 2 things about people with type 2 diabetes following a ketogenic plan. So, when you have type 2 diabetes and you are on medication and you would like to follow a ketogenic plan, the most important thing for you to do is to always check your blood sugar before you take your insulin. And I always include this because it's so important. Diabetes is a food-related illness. Again, I'm going to say this again. Diabetes, type 2 diabetes, not type 1, type 2 diabetes is a food-related illness. It can be healed, reversed, eliminated by changing the foods you eat and the frequency in which you eat them. Not only does it change it, but it can make immediate impact, right? So people living with type 2 diabetes, you know this in the reverse, right? If I eat too many carbohydrates or if I eat sugar, then my sugar is going to spike my insulin. I immediately have to take insulin after my meal because after my meal, my glucose is 200, right? So you know this, but the reverse is also true. So that means that if you start to reduce carbohydrates inside of your diet, your insulin level will immediately stop spiking as high, and so your insulin needs to be adjusted. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. And I say this to every single person with type 2 diabetes that enters my program. And I want to be very responsible when I am talking on a public platform about using a ketogenic diet is always check with your doctor as you continue your ketogenic journey. I do not even for my clients in my program, de-prescribe medication. That means I will never, ever tell a client, don't take your medication anymore. You don't need your medication anymore. What I do is I help clients to heal themselves and restore their health. Then their doctor sees the evidence of them having to adjust and sometimes eliminate their medication. That is what their doctor does. So if you ever see me on my platform talking about this client actually reversed her diabetes and got off all medication, or this client's reversed her high blood pressure and got off all of her medication, I did not take them off their medication. Those are clients that see their doctor on a regular basis and their doctor takes them off medication. When a client comes in and they start my program with an A1C of 14, and their doctor is regularly monitoring their A1C, and it gets down to a 5.4, alhamdulillah. Actually, I spoke to a client the other day, and she's at a 5.4. We reversed it. Woo! I'm going to have to get one of those like horns, like I blow every time somebody reverses diabetes. Her doctor will, don't do that. That is between her and her doctor, but alhamdulillah, I am happy to be a part of that process and a part of that journey. So my warning is always to type 2 diabetics, which is if you are following a ketogenic plan or a low carb plan, and yes, there is a difference, you want to make sure that you are taking your insulin, your blood glucose before you take your medication, because your medication amount will most likely need to be adjusted as your blood sugar will not run as high. Last but not least, I want to define what I mean, because oftentimes I get pushback about this, about, well, my doctor says you can't reverse diabetes. Once you have diabetes, you'll always have diabetes. What do I mean by a ketogenic plan reversing insulin resistance? Because I say this all the time, right? And reversing a type 2 diabetes diagnosis. What I mean by that is there are definitive tests in which the medical professionals have that diagnoses you with type 2 diabetes, right? When you go and take a fasting blood glucose and it's 175, 200, your doctor will tell you you have diabetes because they took a blood test and they measured it according to their scale of what is the definition of an insulin resistance to the point that it is considered type 2 diabetes. Your doctor will then send you for an A1C test, right? You get an A1C test, and if you don't know what an A1C is, it shows your average blood glucose over 3 months, right? This is why you're not going to get an A1C on a monthly basis. The closest that your doctor will give you an A1C test is every 3 months. When you get an A1C and it comes back as a 7, your doctor will call you and tell you you have diabetes, right? If you are able to get that number down, right, and you get it to a 5.4, right? So anything between a 5.6 and I believe it's a 6.2 is considered pre-diabetes, right? Anything above a 6.2, they're going to say you have type 2 diabetes. When I say we are going to reverse this process, that means that we want to get that test down, the number to come down every time you take it until it is below a 5.6. Once it is below a 5.6, you're no longer in the category of having diabetes. And at that point, generally, most doctors will take you off of medication. What most doctors will also do is they will say, this one is okay, but let's take another in 3 months, right? Because they want to see it consistently be that way. When people do all of the things that they have to do in order to get to that number, and then like, okay, I'm to that number. Now I can go back and eat everything that I want because I've reversed my diabetes. No, you're just giving yourself diabetes again, right? This is about a lifestyle change. It is not a diet. It is not only a challenge to yourself, right? It may start off with a 90-day challenge. Can I do this for 90 days? But it is a lifestyle change. Just like if you are once overweight, you have to actually consistently, after you lose that weight, you have to be consistent on your change of habits in order to keep the weight off. Reversing your diabetes, reversing your insulin resistance is the same thing. You have to be consistent. It doesn't mean, hey, I am going to give up rice and bread for 3 months, get my fasting glucose down, and then I can eat rice and bread again as much as I want. Probably not. All right, probably not. So really important that you understand that this is a lifestyle change. A couple of lives ago, somebody asked me, like, why do I use low carb and ketogenic plans in order to lose weight, to help people lose weight, as opposed to counting calories? Because the people that I help aren't just overweight. The people that I help, they're overweight, they have insulin resistance, they have PCOS, they have pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. So my weight loss plans are about restoring health. And as a side effect, you also lose weight. You also are able to reset your metabolism. So that is our live for today. I hope it was really helpful and beneficial for you. Please make sure you tag a friend that can benefit from this, that you share, you hit the like, you do all of those great things that tells the algorithm that you would like to be notified when I come live, right? Do all of those things. Talk to the algorithm, people. Like, share, comment, right? Comments are really important. Better than a like, just so you know, as you follow all of your favorite content providers, you will benefit them much more, even if you drop an emoji inside of the comments, right? Comments are seen better on the algorithm than just a like. I'm just saying, give me a heart emoji, a blood glucose drop emoji, some type of emoji. All right. So next Tuesday, 11 a.m. If you have any questions between now and then, go ahead and drop them in the comments and I will pop in and give it an answer. If it is a few sentences, if it is more than that, then next week, inshallah, we will talk. I will answer some of the questions. So next Tuesday, we are going to talk about exercise. Why, how, and how do you get phenomenal results with 30 minutes of workouts 3 days a week? All right? And that's all it requires to literally transform your health and your body. I will talk to you then. You guys have an awesome rest of your week. Assalamu alaikum.